Get downloading the One Football app. It is free. The link is in the description for that. All the latest news, your transfers, your gossip, stats with Newcastle United. Every football fan needs it.
Premier League football for Newcastle United next season. All sealed now. How does that sound?
I think it's really good that the Newcastle United will be there. I think we knew from the beginning that will be difficult and will be a tough season, but we did well. So obviously, I know that the numbers are the same. That is amazing. And last year, but last year, also when I try to explain the difference between every season, that sometimes you try to compare. But last year we were safe with 5 games to play. Now we are safe with 3 games to play. That means that maybe this year is a little bit more difficult and cost us a little bit more.
Yeah, I think earlier on in the season you were of the belief that it might go right until the end. Do you feel the players and yourself have exceeded expectations?
To be fair, at the beginning, and especially when we started losing games, I could see a lot of pundits saying, Newcastle United will be relegated for sure. And after, little by little, you could see that we were consistent. So always I talk about balance and consistency, and we have done that last year, and we have done that this year. And again, I would say a credit to this group of players, because they were fighting for each other, they were fighting for the shirt, they were fighting for the fans, and in the end, you are where you are because we were consistent. That's it.
You had just the 2 points after, I think it was 7 matches earlier on in the season. What was the turning point for you? What was the thing that brought things around?
Yeah, it's more or less that just one game or one situation. It's just analysing the games with a lot of players individually and as a group, and then we were talking about how close we were in every game. So Tottenham, Chelsea, Brighton, any of these games we were very close, apart from a couple of games, but we were very close. And if you are competitive and you are close, obviously you can draw, you can win. Then people talk about now expansive football possession, and then with our numbers we are 13 in terms of shots, so we have balance. We create and we attack and we create chances and we have chances, but at the same time we defend well. So you see the stats and we are quite balanced.
So now that the club are safe and we know where they'll be playing their football next season, I think it's fair to ask you if you will be managing Newcastle United in the Premier League next season.
Yeah, my answer a lot of times has been we have to wait and see where we are. At the moment, I think still we have 3 important games to play. And some people say, no, it's because you are safe, they are not important anymore. They are important for us, and they are important for a lot of people of the other teams. So I think for us, it's just the main thing is to concentrate on the games that we have now, Brighton. And if we have any news, you will know from me or from the club. You will know. At the moment, it's just be sure that we are concentrated on the games.
Yeah, I think you said though, and you have been saying that once the fate is sealed, you will be able to sit down and talk. So has there been any further discussion this week, or are you any closer to an agreement since you know your fate?
Yeah, we have. We have a conversation, so sometimes Lee Charlie is coming with us for the games or things like that, so we can talk about serious things. If we have anything, we will let you know.
Is this time now, when you've got 3 games left and you know you'll be playing Premier League football, is this a time now to try and get ahead of your rivals and try and put plans in place for next season? I guess you won't want to wait until the summer, you want to make sure you're ahead.
Yeah, I think it's important for everyone to do business early, and especially now with the prices in the market. But what we have to do now, because sometimes you try to do things early and then you cannot, because the other teams are waiting and they need to know if they will be in Europe or if they will be relegated or not. So when you try to do business with different players in different leagues, in different countries, it's just sometimes you have to wait. So the main thing, what can we do now, is to be sure that we are ready to do what we want to do and then try to get 3 points tomorrow.
Okay, can I just ask you one more on that? And it's just a quote that I think you gave to the newspapers last week when you said that we need a team that can compete and we have to make sure that we're of the same opinion, and obviously you mean yourself and the club. Do you feel from the conversations that you've had so far that you are of the same opinion, that you can compete in the Premier League and not just survive? Yeah,
we'll let you know maybe later on if we progress or not. But it's football. We are professionals, and if the club has an idea, then we have to be sure that we have the same idea, and that's it. But it's not. I cannot decide which is the idea. I have my opinion, like the majority of the people here or the fans, and that's it. So we have to try to find a point that we are close enough to do things right for both parts.
Okay, and just in terms of the players, 3 of them taken off injured last week, and I suppose the most sad one was Miguel Almiron. Is he in danger of missing the?
Yeah, the bad news is obviously we have Longstaff, Leyen, and now Almiron. That will be 3 weeks, and we will see how he progresses. No, they are not available. Obviously, we have also lost this week Lascelles because he has a stomach illness the whole week. So then now we have to check some knocks. But I think Shar, Hayden, for me they will be available.
Stomach bug for
a stomach illness. So I need to check with the doctor exactly what. But yeah, stomach illness.
Nothing too serious.
No, nothing serious. But he was not training during the week. He has not been training with the team.
And how's Miguel? Because he looked pretty upset last week.
No, he's fine. You know that he went to see an specialist in Spain, and he has had his treatment, and now everything is going according to plan. So he's quite positive, and he's keen to do everything. So if you know him, he's a really, really good professional.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Rafa, there was of course a lot of pressure on the players, wasn't there, in terms of trying to avoid relegation. Have you noticed the relief around the training ground after the events of the weekend?
Yeah, obviously, I think around the city, everybody. We had confidence that we could do it, and especially when the team was doing well. The second part of the league, we were very consistent in terms of winning games and competing. Everybody had the belief that we could do it, but at the end you have to do it, and we did it. We are happy for that, and now we will try to go as high as possible on the table.
I know you mentioned it before, but obviously that difficult start to the season. I don't know if you saw, but Newcastle accumulating, I think, the most points outside the top 6 since November. That's a pretty incredible achievement, given the competitive nature of the Premier League, like you mention every week.
Yeah, I think it's important to talk again about balance. So when you compete, at the end of the day, you have to get more points than the others to stay safe, no? We talk about goal difference, all these things that we knew exactly what we were doing and what we were trying to achieve. We did it last year, we are doing the same this year. And you have to approach every game with the belief that you can get what you want. And then I think has been a key part of this group of players, that they were working really hard for each other and for everyone, for the fans, for the club. In the end, if you have this idea, you just carry on. It doesn't matter what happened at the beginning of the season, if you lose games or if you win a couple of games in a row and it seems that you have overconfidence. So I think we saw consistency, we saw this good mentality, and has been the key for me.
Speaking of the achievements of the players, obviously one player was isolated on Saturday, being Jose Perez with the hat-trick, taking him into the top 10 list of all-time goal scorers for Newcastle. How underrated a player do you think he's been on his time on Tyneside?
Yeah, also I said that with Almiron now, Rondon and Ayoce, they had more chances for the kind of movements that Almiron was doing. And also I was praising Atsu all the time because he was doing great. But when you have these kind of players that they link each other, they find each other really well during the games, and the other one is running behind and creating the space because the defenders are going deep. So it means that everything that you are trying to do is getting better because you create more chances, and you score 3 goals like the other day, and we could score even more. So Ayoce, that is a player that has a quality, and then he has to be more consistent. He knows that has to be more consistent, but he's a great player, and when the people around him is doing well, he's getting better. That's it.
Just one more from the weekend, and it was the announcement of the United as One initiative as well. A tremendous initiative brought out from the club. What are your thoughts on it?
Sorry, again.
The United as One initiative.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on it?
No, I'm 100% behind. So I think it's important to. We have a position sometimes that we can help just with little things, and in this case, everybody together supporting this idea. I think it's fantastic.
Talking about the club being united as one as well going forwards, I know you touched upon this briefly before, but how important do you feel it is for not just your future but players' futures as well to be sorted out ASAP before we go into the summer?
Yeah, I think for everyone. So you have a job like myself, so everybody wants to know what is next. So I think it's for anyone, but especially in football when your competition is so big and everybody has a lot of money, and then you have to go early. So it's really important for everyone to know where we are, and that's it, and move forward.
And of course, first up, obviously Brighton in 24 hours' time. A very, very tricky fixture given the fact that they've slipped and slid down the league and are fighting relegation in a sense. What sort of game are you expecting at the Annex tomorrow?
Yeah, we know Brighton really well. I think that they did really well this year. And that is a difficult situation now for them, because obviously they have these 3 features are quite difficult. So I think it's, the way that I can expect that they will approach the game will be just attacking and trying to score an early goal and then put our team under pressure and the fans behind the team. So I am expecting this kind of game. So we will see, but I think this is what they have to do.
Just finally from me, we saw, and we've seen throughout the season, of course, supporters on the away trips, especially against Leicester, they were absolutely wonderful. But this, one of the longest journeys of the Premier League season, a 5:30 kick-off too. Incredible effort to take so many supporters down to Brighton tomorrow.
Yeah, as you say, against Leicester they were amazing, but they have been amazing at least since I am here, every single game at home and away. So then, if they go and they support the team the same way, I think that it will be different, because it will be better for them. Because I think they will be happy, they will enjoy, because we are already safe. So I think it will be quite good, and if we can get 3 points, they will come back happier.
Thanks, Rafa.
Cheers.
Rafa, do you think Almiron is one of the? You mentioned obviously the other players as well playing around Perez, but do you think he's one of the key reasons why Jose Perez perhaps is getting the goals that perhaps his contribution haven't got before?
Yeah, he's one of them, but I would say at the same time that Rondon is another one, because the understanding between the 3 of them is quite good. But if you see the matrix of passes that you analyze sometimes, Rondon and Ayoce, they find each other more time than maybe other players.
Because when obviously Kennedy came in last January, there was a bit of a spark, and Almiron seems to have had that same effect. There's just that bit of a spark in the side.
Yeah, I think so. I think Kenny was really good for us last year, and Almiron has been similar. So he was giving us fresh air, something new, and everybody was really lifted with this new approach.
In terms of, we've talked about mini leagues. I mean, the top 2 are well ahead, the top 6 are well ahead. Are you kind of saying to the club that 7th to 10th is where this club, within the next 2 or 3 years, should be aiming?
Yeah, I don't say this now. I said this 3 years ago. So for me, the potential is there. It's a massive club, massive city, and you can see the fans every single game. So we're talking about a home and away. So the support is massive. So I think it's a team that my memories when I was in Liverpool or Chelsea, it was Newcastle United, really difficult. They will be always in the top 10.
And in terms of Brighton, obviously Chris Hughton, one of your predecessors, a quite popular figure at the club. And how do you assess the job he's done at Brighton?
What I said before, we know them and we know him really well, and he did really well the last years, and he's doing well this year. It's more difficult, yes, because what I said before, this Premier League maybe is a little bit more difficult than the previous one. So he has to continue competing, but it's not easy. These 2 or 3 games that if you win one, maybe you go 2 or 3 positions higher in the table, or you lose some confidence. I think that is the problem that they have now, because doing similar things that they have done in the past, they are not winning, they are not scoring goals, and then you feel more the pressure.
And just one final one from me. June the 30th is obviously when your contract runs out. Is there a date in mind for when you really want yourself and the club to have come to some sort of agreement or not?
Hopefully before the 30th of June, but we will let you know. At the moment, I think we have to wait, and I have to concentrate on that, and we will see. Okay.
Rafa, will more talks take place though between now and then?
Yeah, for sure. If not, we'll have to talk. I don't know when, but yeah, we have to talk.
Yeah, and just going back to that point that made before there about the sort of finishing between 7th and 10th in the Premier League, you made the point there that this is something you've been saying for 3 years, so are you a little bit frustrated that it hasn't happened?
No, what I say is when I came here, it was a difficult time, and after I decided to stay for a lot of reasons, and I will not repeat again. And I think we did what we have to do to save or to win the Championship and then go back to the Premier League and to guarantee that we stay in the Premier League, and now the same. So I think it's clearly a signal of the potential of this club and what we can do. So then it's my feeling that we can do that.
In your mind, then, is it a case of next season can't just be about surviving again?
Yeah, I said before that I used to compete for titles, and then I would like to be sure that we can compete against anyone. So I am not happy when you go and you play against a top side and say, it's a draw, maybe you have to be happy. No, I am not happy with that.
No, I suppose that sort of shows your calibre as, you know, a manager, and you've won lots of trophies over your career, and you want to do that here.
And I used to do it since I was in the academy of Real Madrid. So it's just that I like to win, like everyone. But when you used to do that for a while, you want to do it. And then I'm realistic at the same time. So I understand that each club has his own potential, and then each one has to decide what they want to do or they can do. That's it, fine. But it's just to be sure, for me, if I can compete, I would like to compete for something more. And if you cannot, then you have to manage and be realistic. So when I was talking about the miracle, some people were criticizing, oh, he say this, he say that. Oh, but you can see that the players, they reacted really well, and we are in a fantastic position. But what I was trying to say is that this club, with the potential that we have, we can compete, and we want to compete, or at least I want to compete, to go any game and try to win something. We talk about the cups, and then we don't compete in the cups. I want to compete and try to win trophies, but you cannot compete in the cups when you are at the bottom of the table and you have a risk of 2 or 3 key players injured, and then you don't have the replacement. So it's just so simple to understand. That's it. So I don't want to do anything. I don't want to push anyone. It's just to be sure that where we are, and if we are clear, we move forward.
Do you get the sense, though, on that point, that you will want to be down there, you want to be able to compete in the cups, that those in charge here want that as well?
Yeah, if I said before, if we can do the right things, we can compete. For what? We can compete and then try to, at least to be close to win something, but we have to do things right, and I don't say that it's wrong. I say that right for my point of view. So you can bring another manager, and then maybe he will be happy if they do well and they finish 15th. So I would like to do something more if it's possible.
And just last one with Brighton. Obviously, it's a massive game, not for Newcastle but for Brighton. But it's one of those that I think, because of what Chris Hughton achieved here when he was manager, it's one of those games where I don't think Newcastle fans would mind so much if he didn't get a good result.
Yeah, I'm sure that next week you will ask me more questions about what it means for the other team and for the fans. We are professionals. We have to try to win, and if we win, it's fine. So you have 38 games during the season, and then you have to try to do your best every single game. And if something changes depending on what you do, it's something that you cannot control.